I'm the one who thinks up all the weird questions, all the weird thoughts. Questions like, why is a chicken the only animal we can eat before it's born and after it's dead? Why does your garbage always weigh more than your groceries did? And what is it about being in a car alone makes everybody want to pick their nose? These are things that I wonder. And I knew when I was a little kid, I knew that I was not normal. I knew that the thoughts that I had were different from the thoughts that other little kids were having. I could see it in the eyes of my mom and my dad. I remember my mom saying things to me like, don't play with those arrows, they'll poke your eye out. Don't play with that stick, it'll poke your eye out. And I remember thinking, I'm 6 years old, but I remember thinking, you can't poke your eye out with a stick. You can poke it in. Poke it out, you got to run it up through your nose, up like this. I was kind of a smart aleck. I was too smart to be a smart aleck out loud, but I remember my dad getting on to me about something one day saying, hey, when Abraham Lincoln was your age, Abraham Lincoln had a job. When Abraham Lincoln was your age, Abraham Lincoln walked 12 miles through the snow to get to school. I didn't say it out loud, but I remember thinking, hey, when Abraham Lincoln was your age, he was president, okay? But I had a time in my life early on that I would see these strange looks from my parents because I suppose I was a strange little child. I had a thought process that was different from the other kids. In kindergarten, they'd be sitting there with the glue and gluing the construction paper chains together and playing very busily, and I'd be sitting there staring at the glue bottle wondering, why doesn't this stuff stick to the inside? I mean, these are just thoughts that I had. I remember being in the grocery store with my mother one time, and my mother put some eggs in. I couldn't have been 4 years old. She put some eggs in the cart. And I said, Mama, what are those? And she said, well, those are eggs. I said, can I see them? And she said, sure. And she opened up the carton and she said, see, they're eggs. I said, wow. Did chickens lay those eggs? She said, yes, they did. I said, chickens laid those eggs right there? She said, yes, they did. I said, how did they get the chickens to sit so close together? And I know my mother looked at me as if I was not quite normal.